Hi everyone, I'm Laura Graves and I'm about to walk you through some exercises of working with a hot horse and getting her on your aids. So this mare will be 8 years old this year, and she is extremely sensitive. I wouldn't call her spooky at all by any means, but she's incredibly reactive. She notices everything. She really needs a lot of confidence from me. And sometimes I find that the hotter type of horses end up becoming a little bit less trained on the leg because I don't have to work so hard to drive her. So a big learning curve in my relationship with this horse has been the need, or any hot horse, the need to get her better trained on the leg aid so that I can start to teach her things like collection and being able to change the tempos without her feeling the need. She's a bit claustrophobic, without her feeling the need to escape or to run away from me in front. Her nature, I always say that, horses are fight or flight, and even when we're riding them, it's kind of a priority of mine to know which one of those things they would choose if they are confronted with a stressful situation. And this horse is a runner, so she would prefer to run away from an uncomfortable situation. And when you take away that ability of a horse, so if she's confronted with a stressful situation and she says, I would like to run, and I tell her, no, you're not allowed to run, I can expect her to become increasingly stressed, okay? And not that she's naturally a fighter, but when you take away from a horse their ability to react naturally to a situation, then you really need to be prepared for them to try to solve that problem in a different way. And so she can be quite reactive and at the same time be behind my leg. So it's an odd thing to focus on, a horse that really wants to go all the time, but at the same time, she doesn't really listen to my leg if I ask her to go more. And so that's something we're always working on with her. And she's really come a long way. One of my greatest tests for all different temperaments of horse is that no matter how they are naturally, how they are in the barn or who they are in their personality, that when I get in the saddle and apply the training that I repeat, hopefully with regularity on a daily basis with these horses, that training kind of resets all the horses to relatively the same point. So even though this is a hot horse, I start to hope, after a period of time learning to get to know that horse, that her reactions are relatively the same as a dull horse. And we'll see in a different segment, but when I ride a dull horse, I'll want to make those reactions the same as a hot horse. And just that everything really has a question and an answer, and the horses become students rather than just a mode for me to get through my test or something for me to ride, but that they're really students of the sport as well. So now we're about to walk you guys through the 4 different exercises that I find very useful on every type of horse. And it really helps you fight your natural instincts sometimes to attack the negative behavior, and really helps us focus on the positive behaviors and getting the positive reactions from our horses. We're going to start with some turns on the forehand, making some transitions. We're going to take that maybe into some leg yields off of both legs, making sure that I have that good lateral suppleness into an acceptance on my rein aids. And hopefully that will lead us to some corners, controlling those corners, depending on the type of horse you have, the control will be different, and some really good transitions and some halts. Okay, off we go. So my favorite part about this exercise here that we're about to start with is that it can be done on any horse at any level, and it can be made easier or more difficult depending on the type of horse. And this exercise, I will warn you all, can be very addictive because it is very effective. So it is important that as effective as it is, that we remember this exercise is just to take us to a different finishing point, okay? This exercise is not the finishing point itself. The purpose of this exercise, before we get rolling and maybe I get a little too distracted by my riding, is that the horse should wait and come back on the outside rein. If we find, right, and we're told this all the time, ride your inside leg to outside rein. Well, what do we do when that doesn't work, or that feels awful, or my horse resists my outside rein, or they run through it? This is where, and I'll maybe start just this at the walk to show where I could even ride a very young horse in this transition, in this exercise, that I'm going to give the horse an opportunity to understand, okay, I'm touching you on the left rein, I'm touching you on the left rein, I wish you would slow down, I wish you would slow down. But at the same time, so this type of hot horse, right, makes me just want to tell her, hey, wait for me in front. She doesn't really make me want to kick. And even though I don't have to kick her to go, I need to start working on that engagement and that she accepts my leg, because one day I am going to need it. So here, when she says, I can't wait, good. I'm going to work her left hind. And when I get to the track, I should go forward. Good girl. And same, I can touch my right rein. Doesn't have to be a lot of positioning, but she should wait. And if she doesn't, come on. And so you can kind of see, even here at the walk, good girl. Good, and it should go forward. Good girl. Even here at the walk, even though she's a little bit of a runner, because she's hot, I know, she doesn't always run with balance on my leg. Good girl. Might use the whip to help me a little. Good. Now I know, you're very good. And we can speed this up. And my hope, good girl, is that I don't always then have to continue the turn. Yep, you can see she's a little resistant there, so I am going to turn her. And you will find, all of you at home, that right one is going to be awful for most of us because we don't practice it. We'll see if we can make a couple in trot. But you can see, even though she wants to go and make me not want to kick her, right? I need to tell her, babe, she's slow there. Better balance on the leg. Come on, she's still slow. Good. Good. I'm going to turn her again. Yeah? And this is where you might see a hot horse. She may or may not do this for us today, but she could become very offended. Hey, you're running. Good. Good. I touch the right rein. Does she get quicker? Not really. Good. Good. And then maybe I could take that forward. Nope, I can't. She's telling me I can't. Good girl. Good. Until I like the balance and I feel like I could touch her on my leg and have her not run away from me. Nope. Here she goes again. Good girl, honey. Good. And this exercise, awesome, just puts her inside hind leg so much better under her body. Good. Then it gives me a place I can put my leg on. Beautiful job. Good. Good girl. Where she can accept that leg into a quickness that I create on it, while at the same time helping her manage that instinct she has to run away from my leg. okay? So just because she has this ambition to go doesn't mean she gets the permission to become less trained on my leg at the girth or my leg wherever I want to touch her, okay? So it teaches her to wait in the bridle and think about her hind leg at the same time. A complex situation, but a really necessary conversation to have with a hot horse. We'll let her walk a minute, and then we'll take her up on some leg yields, hoping that this exercise here already helped her gain awareness of my leg and how I want her to react on it. And I might find through those leg yields, I might still have to marry in this turn on the forehand exercise. But the important thing to remember is that the correction here, okay, the turn on the forehand, starts to take you away, okay? We shouldn't need it the same amount every day. And when I measure every day, it's in tiny, tiny little bits, okay? This horse, sometimes on the right rein, used to get really defensive, even though she's a little bit hollow that way. It was an odd thing that I could hold her on that right rein and turn her quickly off that leg. And so it still has to be practiced, and it might not be perfect today, but it's a heck of a lot better than it used to be. Because she's very smart. Okay. What do you think, Big Mama? Gonna do some leg yields? So the goal of every exercise that might be correcting the aids or giving you a better feel of how to adjust your horse's reaction to them is always to get us then not needing it so much. So my goal with these exercises is to have the horse already thinking in the head, oh, I know what reaction to give, and that they start to do it before I've even have to make the correction. And that is really something as riders we need to be listening to, that if I even start to touch her on the right rein, yeah, good, little resistance, good, good. Maybe you don't have to make the whole turn, okay? And that is great. If you do, you do. If you don't, we don't. Good girl. We'll see what we have. Because a big part of balance comes from the leg. So it's all for me about finding a way to put that leg on in a way that I can tolerate and that promotes good understanding and correct basics for the horse. She's running a little. Good girl. Incorporate just the thought of that turn on the forehand, but now it's from my inside leg for that leg yield. Take her off my outside leg. Good girl. Wait. Good. Turn on the forehand thought off that leg, off the right leg. Good. So now I'm just having these ideas. Good. Yeah, a little resistant there. You can do it. Come a little bit closer for her. Closer together, okay? A little off the left leg. She runs. Here we go. Good girl. Good, and off the right leg. Yep. Good girl, you can find it. Yeah, take her off the left leg. Yeah. Good girl. Let's see if I can take her off the right leg. Wait for me. Good girl. So I'm getting a chance to tell the hot horse, wait for me, with the leg on. Oh God, it's so hard. Good. And the right leg. Wait for me. Come on, right hind. Good. Good girl. Good. Walk. Good girl. We'll see if this exercise can now lead us into a couple corners. Seeing if we have that control on both the inside leg and that outside rein to make a couple turns with proper flexion. Good girl. And these exercises can really be done in all three gaits. Good. I'm already here in the walk. Gonna start using my corner. Put my right leg on at the girth. Good. Good. Does she come and wait for me? I know, mare. I know. I don't want to have to hold her back all the time. Good. On a hot horse, I'm thinking about how many steps. Good. Can I take in this corner? Right? Wait. And the trick then becomes to take 1,000,000 steps in these corners and have the feeling that the horse is walking in front of you. Good. I don't want her to get slow. Come on. I want her steps shorter and quicker. Come. Good. And I might, because I'm working on my right leg, easy babe, left rein, and I'm finding her a bit dull off my right leg, I might switch my whip a little. Good. She just needed the presence of it. Good girl. We'll see if we can make a couple of these at trot. I know. Good girl. But I don't want a horse who thinks this way to always be ridden. I might have to walk coming in. Good. Trot out to be ridden with the brake on. Good. A horse who, right, doesn't stop, or you're worried about them not halting. I don't want to have to ride conservatively because of that concern. Good girl, good effort for her. Right leg on. Wait, mare. Wait, mare. Good, if I have to, I will halt. Touch that right hind. Good girl, okay. She gets rolling. Wait, wait, wait. Good girl. Okay, take a break. Good girl. Very good. The last thing we're going to practice, and this for me, okay, so this is a horse who gets oddly, usually a little hotter the longer I ride her. So if I practice my halts in the beginning of my ride, they're usually not so bad, okay? And I do practice halts a lot, but for her, because her brain now is reeling from the work that we just did of trying to make her listen to my leg and not run out from under me, now practicing the halts is going to probably be a really tense place for her. And if you have mirrors, I always like to practice my halts in front of mirrors because I'm very particular about the halt itself. Good, then I want them to be square. Come. Good, and depending on the level of the horse, I want the hind leg under me a certain amount. Good. If she's fussy on the bridle, I'm going to talk to her a little bit with my hand. Say, relax. Good. Good. I know. Stay up here. Good girl. And even in the halt, I want to stay square on my seat. I want to be able to keep my elbows part of that seat. And she should stand here all day. And similarly, when I ask her to walk off, good, that was fine for me. But just because she's hot, this would be an important place that if she were late to me asking her to walk off, this would be an important place where I correct her a little bit as well. Good, and if I say, oh, good. She needs to stand like a lady, good. Now the other tricky place for a hot horse like this is that I didn't appreciate that she took that step forward, oh babe, after I thought we were halted. But I also don't want her thinking to step back, okay? So I might compromise with her here in that how many corrections do I make in the halt before I make her totally crazy that she stops standing still altogether, okay? because I do. It's important to me, right? Better score if she at least stands and is patient than if she doesn't stand at all. And sometimes I will mess with the halt. You're all right. And sometimes I will not, just so they don't really have a guarantee, and they really have to start to wait for me to ask. Now you notice as I'm making these halts, I'm also doing a little bit figure 8 here, just down in front of the mirror, so that I'm halting both on the right rein and on the left rein. Good girl. Good. She's being pretty good for her. Good girl. And that's another thing, when I do let down the reins in the halt, this becomes a challenge for all of them, that I would prefer she not walk off until I have also applied my leg.